Now, good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Shane Lee. Um, like I was showing the guys on the web, my toilet paper is in my bathroom anyway. Oh no, they're wanting to be dicks about that. And even though I knew I had a cold, I was just going to wash my hands later, right? And I told you that on the video, so they're obviously dumb as shit and don't listen to anything a person says, right? Can't help a dumbass, right? Who won't learn, right? Now, today I want to talk about why Rome may have thought part of it was sarcastic and some of it was real, right? There too, right? So it's not totally their fault, right? The problem is the way it was dealt with, and by the time it got around to Constantine, he was told by the Orthodox one was sarcastic and one was literal, probably, and he couldn't tell which was which because so were the Gnostics being sarcastic in a way too, right? But again, unless you really understand what they're saying and read the whole thing and then reread the Bible, you won't really know what they mean, right? Well, that's how the Orthodox took advantage of Constantine in the first place to get him to wipe out the Gnostic writings, which is what they wanted, right? See, the Gnostic writing was really trying to explain the things the disciples didn't deal with, but they also did that a little bit sarcastically too, right? But in order to know that, you have to read the whole Bible, right? Well, Constantine was probably too lazy to do that too, right? So again, that's how they were able to convince him about the Trinity of Mounts. There too. So it's not entirely Constantine's fault, but again, and the Orthodox chose a different route there too, right? And so did the Gnostics, right? They tried to come out more with the truth, but were still sarcastic enough themselves that it confused Constantine to side with the Orthodox and declare God thrice male. It's not that he was any less inexperienced in the Bible as anyone else either. That's why I'm not trying to blame anyone. You can't, right? But we're all responsible for our own actions. And see, Jesus is trying to save us all unconditionally because none of us want to deal with it all, right? And that's why I look also to other religions, right? Not just Gnosticism, but also Greco-Roman religion, as well, both of them, and also Hinduism and also Buddhism, right? Buddhism also has a hermaphroditic image with the female breast on the left side and the male breast on the right? Which the female breast is still rumored to be able to give suck, but not the male breast. That can happen in nature too with a human being too, right? And the reason is, some women even today have misshapen boobs, right? Things like that, and that's because of estrogen, things like that, and testosterone, and things like that. We all have a little bit of estrogen and testosterone in us to different degrees, right? Now, the male has more, but only if you castrate him will he get big or he lifts weights or something like that, right? The males are normally a certain size compared to the female too, right? Now, if a female has different shaped breasts, again because of estrogen and testosterone, which she has a lower level of testosterone than the male, but she still has a little bit for her own sex drive. And then the male, she also has estrogen, which helps shape the rest of her body from her hips to her breasts and things like that. Well, a female's breasts are fatty tissue stored up to help with nursing, right? And it also has the mammary glands to nurse the child, right? And again, that's the shapely form of a female, right? And the male looks more sort of box-ish, and like a triangle, right? In a way too, from the waist up, right? He's more broad-shouldered and she's more smaller shouldered, right? And more feminine looking, whereas he's more masculine looking. But they're both XXY from two different cells, one from the female and one from the male, right? So even if externally you appear male or female, internally you're still male and female in one body. Now the true sign of that and proof of that is who? Hermaphrodites. And they are medically based life forms. And that's what I'm trying to explain to the Catholics and other people about that too, right? And especially the Baptists and things like that, and why King James used the word paps. Now, maybe paps can apply to male or female, big or small, I don't know. But the word John uses mastois. And in his gospel, he used stephos, but he changed it to mastois, which again is what the Catholics, the Orthodox used to create the Catholic Church. It seems like even John was a little bit confused about it, right? So they can play that card to Constatine and make him think it even messed with John a little bit. That's because of what Peter said about it too. And Paul hinted at it a little bit, right? But you also have to listen to what he says. When he says the male and female are one in Christ Jesus, they were told to take that metaphorically and not literally by the Orthodox. But the thing is, it's also in the Old Testament. God is not a man. Same thing there, right? And so is the use of the word Chad with kings, right? Plural, more than one. Meaning there's more than one hermaphrodite born ever so often, right? But they're also the rarest of the sexes, right? In like 1 in 100, you might get one, right? And even then, that's even rarer there. You might get 1 in 1,000 or even 10,000, because though their genes are produced through the sperm or the egg, right? Same as us, and the more dominant of the genders, right? At the same time, they do exist. But it's like 1 in 1,000 to even 10,000 that they might be produced in nature. But the fact that they are proves it's in our DNA, right? Because they're produced genetically like the male and the female too, right? And like I said, even whether Satan passed on his hermaphroditic genes or not is irrelevant, because even having sex with a hermaphrodite can mess up your gene pool to produce them either way, right? And it's not about so much the sex itself, it's that it would mess up Adam and Eve's gene pool too, right? And they too can produce X, Y, and XX sperm and egg, right? And the thing is, now the female can only produce XX. So every time she releases an egg, one can be X or one can be XX, right? If she has that gene and is a carrier of it, right? Now, X is dominant over XX. In other words, you need an XX and an XY to produce a true hermaphrodite, right? But without that pairing, it's just internally the XX could pass on, and then the Y, right, of a male, or an X of a female, right? Well, then the child is triple X, right? Not to be a sexual metaphor, but she has an extra chromosome another female, a normal female, or what's considered a normal female, wouldn't have, right? Now, that can affect women differently too, right? And men too. You can be even XO with the male or the female too, right? Now, either way, the male can release Y, X, XO, XX too, right? Why? Because the gene passes on to both sides. When you have sex, your genes pass on, right? The dominant gene here is the Y, the X, then the XO and the XX. Those are the recessive genes. And that's dominant and recessive genes as well. With the female, it's X, XO, or XX, only 3. And they can all be passed on generation by generation. And that's just what I learned by studying into it in the Navy. And also seeing a true hermaphrodite in a book for porno movies and things like that back in '94 too, right? Now, how I know it wasn't was a real hermaphrodite is its penis was erect, and you can see the vagina, no testicles under the penis, right? In the picture advertising the movie the hermaphrodite was in, right? And that's how I know it's not altered, right? It's not a doctored picture, because I don't think the technology was quite there yet, right, to even do all that in '94. Now they can crop the hell out of anything, right, and Photoshop the shit out of the shit, right? But back then, they still weren't as advanced with that kind of technology, right? And it looked like a real dick on top of a vagina. Know what I mean? But they're also, like I said, the rarest of the genders too, right? So when they pop up, the doctors just immediately operate on them. I guess they didn't get this one, right? And it somehow slipped through their fingers, but right, alright. Anyway, but that's the whole point there too, right? So anyway, talk to you later. Bye bye.